Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody in between. Jackie's got a sports show, and you are tuning into that very sports show. I'll try not to do that into the microphone. How you doing? Just the pop filter a little bit. How was your week? How was your weekend? Did your teams win? Did your teams lose? If your team's not in it, what team did you pick to ride all the way to the Super Bowl? Unfortunately, my team that I picked to go to the Super Bowl lost this weekend. We'll talk about it, but before that, before we get into wild card talk, because that's pretty much what we're going to talk about is the NFL wild card. Not really keeping up with a whole lot outside of that. Outside of wrestling, there's not a whole lot of storylines to talk about in wrestling. There might be, and I might add that little bonus at the end, little Rock and Roman talk. But how was your weekend? Hope it was well. Haven't seen you since Thursday. It's nice for you to come back. Jackie's got a sports show, and I do appreciate you tuning into the sports show, whether you are a man, a woman, or anybody in between. All welcoming. And I love you all. Haha, kisses. Mwah. Let's not do that. So today, we're just going to talk about the NFL wild card. That's basically it. I'm going to try to stretch this to at least 20 minutes. We'll see how it goes. You might hear that. If you did hear it, my dogs are in their kennels right next to me. It is 6 in the morning. I was not able to sleep, and I realized that if I was going to fall asleep, I would not wake up with enough time to get this out at the time that I want to. So we're recording it right now. High energy. Let's get it. Well, now, I always open the show with little talksies about past couple days. And last night, me and the lady, I bought Peacock to watch wrestling. Thought SmackDown and Raw streamed on there. I was wrong, but luckily she already had a Hulu account, so uh, I watch Raw and SmackDown the day after on that, and I have Peacock to go back and watch pay-per-views and stream the pay-per-views that are coming up. But that's neither here nor there. By the way, little advice for you guys, girls, anybody in between who's a little bit younger, thinking of getting a streaming service, buy the annual package. Get the annual package. It will save you so much money. Unless you're getting something like NFL Plus. If you get NFL Plus, immediately cancel it after the season because I'm not sure how much the annual package is for NFL Plus, but it's not worth it because the base NFL Plus gets you access to the NFL Network channel, which is not is not anything special, and in market games and primetime games. So after the first weekend of February, I guess it's the second weekend now, cancel it. But for stuff like Hulu, Peacock, Netflix, Disney Plus, whatever you want to do, buy the annual package. It's less money and you only have to do it. It's less money, basically. It's like for Peacock, it's around like $10 a month, which turns around to be $120 a year. It's something along the lines of that. But the annual package is $80. So I'm saving $40 by just buying the annual package. You know what I'm saying? I've probably heard that, but that was a whole sidetrack. But what came out on Peacock about a month ago? That TED show about the, Seth MacFarlane Talking Bear deal. I thought it was going to be bad. I thought it was just a cash grab. Hey, we have this property that we can use, so let's make it a TV show. But it's awesome. It's so good. In the first episode, one of the first lines that I find absolutely hilarious is Ted has to go to school with Johnny, and he looks around, and it's in Boston, and it's an all white crowd, and he pokes at Johnny saying, "How's it feel being the only white kid in, all whatever, being the only white kid here?" And the guy goes, we have some minorities. What are you talking about? We had an Indian kid, but they got him." Ted looked at him and was like, "What do you mean?" Johnny didn't answer. He's like, "What do you mean they got him?" I just find that hilarious. Then I found out because it's a funny show, but it's one of those shows where it's the show where you follow a family. The funny stuff happens, and there's some nice family messages that come out, and the episode 6, it follows, you find out, spoilers, but not really. You find out that the sister cousin, and I'm saying sister cousin because like she's presented as the sister, and then you find out, oh, she's a cousin that is away from her parents or whatever. She's gay, or she's not gay. She's bisexual, or I guess she explains it as if she's pansexual, but forever. And I don't care. And I don't care, and I don't want to sound if that's. I don't want to make it sound like if I'm being a douche, but I don't care enough to look into it. I don't know the difference between pansexual and bisexual. The thing I've heard about them both is bisexual, you like both genders, or I guess all when it comes to whatever. You're bisexual, you're not just strictly one gender, right? But with pansexual, they're like, oh yeah, I'm attracted to personalities. Shut up. Shut up. I guess. I guess. But it's like, just say you're attracted to both genders. I hate when people, there might be a small percentage of people that do this, but I hate when people try to take physical attraction completely out of the picture when it comes to dating. I don't want to sound like that, but I know a couple people that get aggravated when they're friends with someone and then they like start to lose weight, or their body gets a little more defined, and they look more physically attractive, and that friend now is physically attracted to them and is now kind of sweet talking them, trying to get into a relationship, and they're like, you didn't like, it's like, yeah, they weren't attracted to you. They weren't attracted to you. I This is apparently a rough topic that gets a lot of feelings hurt, but I'm spending way too much time talking about this. But physical attraction is a part of dating, and acting like it isn't, or like holding out hope that no, it is. And people have to learn, and again, another uncomfortable conversation that's just one of those truths about life. You have to learn to bat within your own league. You know what I'm saying? You're a minor league player. There's no reason you should be batting for the Red Sox. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, sometimes it'll happen. Sometimes you will see a girl with a guy and you're like, that guy is somehow batting 400 in the World Series. How is that going on? But usually, a couple you will see, same weight class. Same, I don't want to say weight class isn't whatever. Same weight class in the boxing sense. Same weight class, same league, same everything. And that's okay. I'm not saying that that man or that lady or anybody in between is not attracted to their partner, because they are. If they weren't, they wouldn't be with them. I think I'm absolutely hideous. I ask my lady all the time, why are you with me when you have to look at me? She was like, do you think I'd be with you if I was not physically attracted to you? Because that's not how it works. I've had this argument with a couple of my friends where they try to convince themselves that it's crappy for someone to not be interested in you when they're not physically attracted to you. That's so dumb. And then and then I made this point. Again, I'm spending too much time on this. This is a sports show, not a dating show. But I have to get all my thoughts out on this, and I promise it's the last thought I'll have. But oh my God, dude. I had an argument with someone and they were like, so if that partner gets uglier, that person's just gonna leave? No. No. Because that argument right there is taking what I am saying and going to the extreme with it, right? If you start talking to someone in reference or in relation or with the intention, that's a better word, with the intention of being together, the first thing that you will notice is, man, she, he, them, beautiful, beautiful. Have to go talk to them, right? Yes, there are some cases where you're friendly with each other and you're like, oh, she's cute, he's cute, they're cute. And then you get to know their personality and then they become absolutely gorgeous to you. Absolutely. That happens. you were still physically attracted to them, or you wouldn't call them cute. If you were not physically attracted to them, getting to know their personality, you would immediately put them in the box of, that's a great friend. That's what it is. Now, when the relationship deepens, when you turn that relationship into years together, years together, you have a house, you have a car, you have steady jobs, right? You're paying bills together, you're buying groceries together, whatever. That relationship is so much more than physical attraction. So if something were to happen, say your wife has a baby, has your baby, she's put on a few pounds, right? A little heavier than she used to be. You're an asshole. If all of a sudden you're like, I'm not attracted to you, so I'm leaving. You're an idiot. You're an idiotic asshole because the relationship you have with your wife is so much deeper, or it's supposed to be so much deeper than just physical attraction. It just is. And a little thing like that, little change in their appearance, like a couple pounds after giving birth to your child, that should be no big deal to you. No big deal. Plus, brother, learn how to handle a bigger woman. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's just the chair. I heard movement, but I'm gonna get off that subject. It's 11 minutes, and we got to get to the NFL wild card. Looks like I found a way to stretch this to 20 minutes. So first, we'll talk Saturday. The Houston Texans absolutely slaughtered the Cleveland Browns. And little spoiler alert, not really, because I know all of y'all kept up with the games. This was not a good weekend. This was not a good weekend for the NFL playoffs. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blowouts. The Lions Rams game was fun, and we'll talk about it. And the Bills Steelers game was like a stalemate before the Bills eventually pulled away for a 31-17 win. Again, we'll talk about it. But when it came to like the Texans and the Browns, when it came to Saturday football, Texans, Browns, and Dolphins, Kansas City, it was bad. It was bad. I shouldn't say that. The Texans and Browns was good till halftime. Halftime kicked off, and the Browns just forgot how to play football. But CJ Stroud, perfect game. Now, he had some overthrows, had some couple things that he could have tweaked, but for a rookie in his first game against a very strong defense, yes, the defense was a little hurt, but that still was a phenomenal defense against a phenomenal defense, phenomenally coached defense. This kid went perfect passer rating, perfect. That's all you can say. CJ Stroud is so good right now, and it's infuriating. Why? Titans fan. Obviously, it's going to be infuriating. Plus, CJ Stroud was the guy that the Titans wanted to trade up to get, if you believe the reports coming out of Tennessee. We got Will Levis. I loved what Will Levis put on tape this season, his rookie season. Can't wait to see what he does next season, especially if we get a guy like Ben Johnson, right? But CJ Stroud, Will Levis has shown me nothing like CJ Stroud has put on tape. Nothing. This dude can throw the entire field. I shouldn't say that, but he's got a very strong arm. He throws into stupid tight windows. He is a incredible decision maker, and he's mobile when he needs to be. This guy's a great quarterback. Now, we've seen rookie quarterback seasons that have fallen off, or they've fallen off after the rookie season. We've seen that. Look at, Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield had, broke almost every rookie record in the book when it comes to like major stats his rookie season, and he didn't even play the entire season. But CJ Stroud showed so much more than Baker did that season. So much more. And now he carried a Texans team that was not that talented. They had some guys that were under the radar. Some guys were like, they could do a little something. But this Texans team was supposed to be at the bottom of the AFC South. Kid comes in along with that head coach who is coach of the year for sure. He is my pick for coach of the year, D'Amico Ryans. And they take this Texans team that would have had the first overall pick had Lovie Smith not, I believe, gone for 2 to beat the Colts last season. Would have been the worst team in the league, period, and took them to an AFC South title. Colts were beat up. Jaguars had a weird season. Titans sucked. You know, take it with you what you will, but got an AFC South title and beat a Browns team that admittedly coasting on the glory days of an old man Flacco and a great defense. But like I said, great, phenomenal defense, very well coached defense, and CJ Stroud torched them. Perfect. Perfect passer rating. That's all you can say. And for the Texans going forward, I believe they are heading to Baltimore, which is very, very tough. Very tough. Baltimore is the best team in the league, point blank, period. But if CJ Stroud destroys that Baltimore defense like he did that Cleveland defense, Baltimore is a little more healthy. Baltimore is better. But if he does half of what he did against the Browns, this kid is for real. And this kid could be a top 5 quarterback by season 3 in his career. Absolutely. Now, let's go on to Miami traveling to Kansas City, and they got torched. It wasn't close at all. The offense could not do a single thing outside of one broken play to Tyreek Hill. You take that one broken play out of that game, I think the Dolphins offense averaged maybe 3 yards a play. I believe. You can fact check me on that, but pretty sure that's close. Dolphins offense couldn't do anything. Anything. And that defense was awful. Defense was awful. Some guy want to get in my comments talking about, 6 starters missing on the defense. I don't care. Your offense couldn't do anything. And choo-choo, choo-choo, excuse train leaving the station. The excuse train has room for everybody. Everybody loves riding the excuse train. The Chiefs had a wide receiving core that couldn't catch a ball. The Chiefs wide receiving core couldn't catch a ball. But then again, Vic Fangio, Dolphins defensive coordinator, knew that he would not be able, I shook a little bit because I freaked myself out. He would not be able to get to Patrick Mahomes with that defensive line, with Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips being out. Couldn't get to him, so he had to blitz. He had to blitz all night. And when he blitzed, Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, Justin Watson, Isaiah Pacheco, everybody was catching passes. And they learned how to catch. And the one thing you got to talk about for the Dolphins, before this game, Tua Tagovailoa played 4 games under 45 degrees, according to Hard Rock Bet. This is where I'm reading this. Not a single win, and his stats were a 55.5 completion percentage, 4 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, and a 71.8 passer rating. And yesterday, he has now played 5 games under 45 degrees. 51.2 completion percentage, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a 63.9 QBR. I said this on TikTok. I'm going to say it on here. The Dolphins need to sit down, say, hey, we have a very good coach, one of the best young coaches in the league, that's going to provide a phenomenal offensive scheme every single year. That defense is going to get better. Point blank period. Vic Fangio is a great defensive coordinator, and they're going to get talent for that defense. Can Tua Tagovailoa play the most important position on the field and get us to the Super Bowl? Because in the AFC, outside of the rare year where you can have the first seed, maybe the Chiefs are off, the Ravens are off, the Bills are off, whoever's off, the Texans are off, whoever's off, you get the first seed, cool. Everything runs through Miami. Tua can be that guy. But what happens when you don't have the first seed? And all of a sudden the AFC runs through Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore gets cold, New York, depending on what Aaron Rodgers and the Jets do. Sometimes maybe Cincinnati. You have to go to these places in the middle of January, late January, freezing temperatures. And with Tua's history of just not being able to show up in cold weather games, because it's not just professional football. College had the same problem. He cannot go into cold places and win. He just can't. So if you're the Dolphins, you got to start sitting down and have a serious conversation because I believe Tua's contract is coming up. You have to say, is this the guy that's going to win? Is this the guy we can rock with? Tua is a good quarterback. Tua was top 5 in almost every major category in the league in passing, right? You could say he did have the Tyreek Hill being able to just outrun everybody, shatter coverages. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle mixed with Mike McDaniel's genius offense, quotes, because they got shredded every time they played a defense that was top 10. But Mike McDaniel's so-called genius offense that was constantly getting Tyreek Hill, 50, 60, 70-yard touchdown catches, you could say that Tua heavily benefited off of that, and you wouldn't be exactly wrong. But I still think Tua can be a great quarterback, but is he the guy that will win? And there's a conversation to be had about that entirely. See a lot of people complaining about, oh, you think we can't win with Kirk Cousins? Oh, you think we have to move off of this guy or this guy? They're doing fine. You think we have to move off of Dak Prescott? We'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk more about Dak in a second. Here's the thing. Yes, it is hard to find a good quarterback in this league. It is even harder to find a great quarterback, and it is even harder than that to find an elite quarterback in this league. But when you are a team and you are a great team and you have opportunities to at least try to upgrade your quarterback, you have to take it. You have to take it. If you do not believe in, sometimes it hurts. Look at the Browns right now. The Browns, threw away Baker and are now dealing with a massive salary to a guy who half the time acts like he doesn't even want to play there, to a guy with all those allegations on him. Sometimes it doesn't work out. But when you have a great team and you have a quarterback that's just okay at his job, or maybe just good at his job, and it's obvious that now we're seeing multiple, of course, this is Tua's first time in the playoffs. Got to take that into effect, but I'm talking about the freezing cold temperature and just what he has shown his first couple of years in the league. When you have guys that, like Dak Prescott, like Kirk Cousins, consistently shrink in the playoffs, shrink in big moments when you need them, why is it met with so much animosity when you're like, hey, maybe we can do better at the quarterback position? I used to be one of you with the Titans. You can track my TikToks all the way back. Every time someone would say the Titans can't win with Ryan Tannehill, I would defend Ryan Tannehill. We don't need Ryan Tannehill to win the game for us. We just need him to do enough to where Derrick Henry can do his thing. I was one of you. And now I'm not. Because I realize that the key to winning in this league is a good quarterback. Not only a good quarterback, a great quarterback. Is there the rare occasions where you will win with a okay to good quarterback? Sure. Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer. A lot of people say Eli Manning. Eli Manning is one of the greatest playoff performers of all time. So was Joe Flacco. And Nick Foles was on an incredible run. Incredible, magical run. Don't know what happened with that Nick Foles run. But the majority of the time, you need an elite, great to elite to Hall of Fame quarterback to win in this league. You can't stick with, well, this guy puts up great numbers in the regular season. That's cool. But that's a bridge quarterback. It's a journeyman quarterback if you are serious about winning. That's all I'm saying. And with that, the Cowboys got embarrassed at home to start Sunday. They got embarrassed. Jordan Love. Hats off to the Packers. They refuse to draft skill players, or they can't draft skill players. I can't really say that because they have had Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams, even guys like Donald Driver, guys like who's that tight end that won the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers? Jeremiah, Jermichael Finley. They have had guys. Randall Cobb, they've had guys. But is there another franchise that can draft a quarterback as well as the Green Bay Packers? They went, well, I guess they didn't draft Favre, but Favre, then Rodgers, now Jordan Love. Because Jordan Love had a shaky middle of the season, but just like CJ Stroud, against a great defense, of course, that defense, you look at it and schematically, it was awful. It was awful. It was awful. Dan Quinn is probably now staying as the Cowboys defensive coordinator if they don't bring in another head coach, because that one game lost him so many head coaching opportunities. But against a very talented defense, Jordan Love went off. Just like CJ Stroud, perfect passer rating. Phenomenal debut. This guy's getting hot. This Packers team is getting hot. Now, they go play the 49ers, which is going to be tough. They're going to Levi Stadium, and we'll talk about that on Thursday. But things are looking very, very good in Green Bay. And you even saw Matt LaFleur had a quote saying, "It's fun to go into work now. It's a different feeling." I wonder if that's a little shade at the previous guy, at the guy that's losing favor in a lot of circles, deservingly. But for the Cowboys, I'm not a Cowboys fan. I tweeted this out, and I talked about it when I had my little TikTok discussion about this game. I'm not a Cowboys fan, and the Cowboys are one of the teams that I completely despise. Not completely anymore, but growing up, I only had two teams I didn't like. The Packers, because my stepmom was from Wisconsin, so it was fun to not like the Packers. And the Cowboys, because my family hated the Cowboys. I grew up in a house where one of my grandfathers was a Commanders fan, so he hated the Cowboys. And my other grandfather was a Dolphins fan, and he watched the Cowboys completely demolish the Dolphins in a Super Bowl. So he didn't like the Cowboys. So I grew up not liking the Cowboys. But I was kind of pulling for them this Super Bowl. I thought it'd be kind of cool to see the Cowboys win a Super Bowl. I've always been a big defender of Dak, as I kind of stated in my last little rant. Always been a little defender of Dak. And now you can't. Now you can't. You can't do it. Did he play terribly? No. Did a lot of his receivers forget how to catch? Yes. Did Dan Quinn absolutely sell the defense? Absolutely. And that, so it's not all on Dak's shoulders, but he didn't step up. He didn't play great. I think objectively you can say that. And also, as I hinted at, I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I'm sick of the disappointment now. I'm sick of always hearing about the Cowboys, and they're the biggest team in football when it comes to market size, jersey sales, merch sales in general, prime time, whatever. And this is where I get when people are like, the NFL rigs the league. How or in what way would the NFL be rigging the league and not have their biggest money draw in the Super Bowl in 30 years? Do you know what I'm saying? In 30 or at least close to 30 years, the biggest moneymaker when it comes to an NFL team has not made a Super Bowl. And you think that the league is rigged? It doesn't matter if the Cowboys don't have talent. They've always been the most popular, the biggest market size when it comes to like team, right? That's why they are called America's team, because the most popular team in the NFL, and they have not touched a Super Bowl since the early 90s. But that aside, I'm sick of the disappointment. And Mike McCarthy needs to go. It was a mistake to hire him in the first place because everyone knew he was carried to a Super Bowl by Aaron Rodgers. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. Yes, he has a great record in Dallas because he's had phenomenal teams, but he's not a great coach. He's not a great coach. He just isn't. You need to fire him, and I don't think they are. Jerry Jones did look very aggravated walking to the Cowboys locker room after the game. But that doesn't put a whole lot of faith in me when it comes to Jerry Jones firing him. Let's move on to a little bit of a positive note. Or I might leave off on this. I'll leave off on the Lions game. Bills struggle a little bit, get in a little bit of a stalemate with the Steelers, but pull out a 31-17 win, mostly because they caused, I think, 3 turnovers. 3 turnovers that really cost the Steelers. Now, Steelers fans will try to tell you, the referees, even Steelers players, the referees were against us. Shut up. Shut up. You turned the ball over 3 times. Don't turn the ball over 3 times. And even then, a fumble that was supposed to be a fumble, if I remember correctly, y'all can, correct me. Social media and the links, y'all can correct me on this. Say, Jack, you said this about the Steelers and it was untrue, but there was a fumble that was a clear fumble, in my opinion, in the commentator's opinion. And the Bills recovered it, and it was called back. It was called back. Refereeing this weekend was bad, but shut up about the Steelers against everybody. You didn't have a chance in this game to begin with. Yes, it was a stalemate, but yes, it was against the Bills, so I shouldn't be so hard, but my God, dude, I'm so sick of the referee excuse. Shut up. Lions fan or Rams fans want to do the same thing with the Lions. Stop. And we'll get to that when I talk about the Lions and Rams game. The Bills struggle. They're now going to host Kansas City in Buffalo, which is going to be a very tough game. It's always going to be tough against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, especially if Andy does what he did against the Dolphins, in which the passing game is not the strong suit of the Chiefs this season. It is that run game with Isaiah Pacheco leading the way. And the Chiefs are a very good running offense. So we'll see. We'll get into that when it comes to Thursday. But Bills survive this week and move on to Kansas City. Now, the Eagles last night got smacked around in Tampa Bay. I may have this score wrong. I'm not going to double check. 31-9. Baker Mayfield and that Tampa Bay offense completely lighting that Philly defense up. They couldn't cover anybody. They were running into each other. They couldn't tackle, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. The Eagles used to be my second favorite team in the NFL. And then they became the most obnoxious fan base the more I learned about that fan base. Their coach was stupid annoying. And I'm unplugged. And plus they fleeced the Titans for A.J. Brown, which might be backfiring on them, and we got our get back with Kevin Byard. I love KB, but he did not play great, and he hasn't played great this season. Definitely not what he used to be. But it was fun to see. The only thing I feel bad about is I really wanted Jason Kelce to get another ring, and it's looking like that he's gonna pack it up. He was already thinking about it last season, which means, and I believe he was thinking about it the season before. Probably means that this was his last game as a Philadelphia Eagle, and that's very, very sad. He's so fun to watch. He's such a great center. He's such a great. Open a cold one. Put on some Jason Kelce highlights if they exist. I hope they exist. Dude is a monster. But when it comes to the Eagles as a whole, I'm very happy this happened. Especially, it was hilarious to see Philly fans on Twitter, dogging the Cowboys for their performance on Sunday, and now they have to get this thrown in their face. It's hilarious to me. A lot of people are saying fire Nick Sirianni. I don't think that's going to happen. Definitely get rid of both those coordinators. But Don't fire Nick Sirianni. He's earned the right to stay there. Depending on what he does with those coordinators, if he ends up being like Mike Vrabel, where he's like, these are my guys, and I'm sticking with my guys no matter what, then get him out of there. That did not work with the Titans. But I think he's earned at least another season up there. Philly has big expectations, but we'll see. It was fun to watch. It was fun to watch Baker having fun. I've always been a big Baker guy since he came out of the draft, and the amount of adversity he's been put through his entire career is insane. And I hope he's found a solid home. And everybody was talking about how there could be a, you know, this could be the year where a random wild card team makes the Super Bowl, and that would be awesome if it was Tampa. Be awesome. I'd love to see Baker in a Super Bowl, and I would love to see Baker win a Super Bowl. A lot of people wouldn't. A lot of people still see him as that arrogant shithead from Oklahoma, but I would love to see him win a Super Bowl. Let's end on the high note. Lions, first time in 30 years, they win a playoff game, and what made it sweeter was they won the playoff game at Ford Field in Detroit. Everybody was hyped up, and I paused for a second and kind of sat there watching the crowd and listening to it, and it was sick. It was pretty sick to because I could feel the energy through the screen of how special that was for everybody in that building. I know, unfortunately, saw a lot of Lions fans posting on the various social medias how they were a little sad that they had to kind of put down put down Matthew Stafford's season in order to do it. A lot of Lions fans in the moment were cussing him out and booing him and his family, which is a little crazy to me, but it is the playoffs. It is whatever you say, but this was very nice for the Lions. For the Rams, you got to see what Matthew Stafford is feeling like. But I feel like this has to be a high note because everybody thought you were going to fall off. The not having picks was really going to start to bite you. But I think we all underestimated how well they draft because, yeah, they don't have early round draft picks. But what they do with the late rounds, that kid Kobe Turner, they have another defensive tackle who was dominant, who was killer this season, Puka Nacua. Big talks. Puka Nacua was, broke rookie records, probably the offensive rookie of the year. It's very close between him and CJ Stroud. I think I would edge Puka Nacua over CJ Stroud in every kind of way. That's okay. the the Rams should take a very positive note from this, and they'll be fine. They'll be back. They'll be back again. Depends on what Matthew Stafford is gonna do. I don't think there's any real sign of him retiring. Yes, he's starting his little media thing with that podcast with Cooper Cup, kind of like Jason Kelsey did with his brother, and kind of like Nick Saban was doing this previous season, or the previous 2 seasons before he retired. So, seeing what the future is right there. Obviously, if Matthew Stafford retires, Carson Wentz isn't going to take you anywhere. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe they mess around and get a little Cam Ward. And Cam Ward, as talented as Cam Ward is, putting in a Sean McVay system, ooh, I'd like to see that. I believe that's it. I kind of got lost in it and forgot that that was my last topic. Where's my mouse? There it is. Hope you enjoyed. And I want to say something. I want to leave off with this. I was watching early in the morning a John Cena video where he read a bunch of letters from fans, and they rolled this computer up to him. This kid was talking about how his mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and John Cena had given this kid a um, wristband at a wrestling show because the kid was in the front row wearing the John Cena stuff, and he was, cheering on John Cena as John Cena was walking away, and John Cena gave him his armband. Didn't think twice about it. I doubt he even saw the kid's face. He just saw him, took off his wristband, handed the kid it, and walked to the back. And the impact it had on that kid, where he gave his mother the wristband, and he said, "Hey, never give up. John Cena's famous thing, never give up. And through her um, cancer journey, he'd always tell her, John Cena says, never give up. And she's cancer free. She survived it. And that impact that John Cena had on that kid without even knowing it, just being John Cena, just doing pro wrestling for a living, and even an interaction that he didn't even think twice about. Just dapped the kid up with one of the armbands, probably didn't even see his face, and had that big of an impact. It's really inspirational. And I look at guys like Markiplier. And little fact about me, the reason that I really got into content creation was because of Markiplier. Was because of, ironically, the video that everybody clowns him for crying on his 8 million subscriber video. I remember when that video came out, and him talking about how it sucks that he's too big to, you know, connect with everybody and help every one of his fans, and how it hurts him. And just seeing the amount of people in that video talk about how Mark affected them with just making a video and uploading it. And I realized that I want to have that effect on people. I'm not, in my real life, I'm not some hyper light up a room guy. I'm a very quiet to myself kind of guy. But, you know, doing this and providing an escape for people. Yeah, I want to do this to not work in a warehouse for the rest of my life. I want to do this to provide a good living for my family. And I want to do this because I loved sports. I love talking about sports, and I have so many opinions in my head that I have to spit out. But the number one reason why I got into content creation in the first place was because of the effect I saw it have on so many people through like Markiplier and through guys like that, where just turning on a video and someone being able to get lost and forget everything, and help them through whatever time. You can have an argument whether or not you actually help them as a content creator, but I always wanted that, and not some weird connection. I just, deep down in my black little heart, I want to help people, and I want to provide an escape because I know what it's like to live in a house that is chaos and not have a lot of things going for you, and feel like you don't have a lot of time left. I know what it feels like, and I know it sucks. And yeah, I'm not going to ramble about that too much. This episode is long enough, but just want to leave off. Maybe that motivates you a little bit. Go around, maybe, be grateful for the life you have. Everybody you see, try to give a little smile. We all have bad days. I know it's not going to work out every time, but you're at work. Let me tell this real quick before I hop off, because this is kind of an example of that. I don't know how to give compliments. I don't know how to give compliments, and I'm gonna share this story when Red Light Homies comes out as well. But I have this friend Cheyenne, and she's a sweetheart. I love her. At my work, where we always pass each other and end up having a 5 minute conversation when we're really not allowed to, but have a 5 minute conversation back and forth. And she started giving me these compliments, and don't make it weird. It's not some, like, she knows I'm married, and it's a completely platonic thing, but she was like, you look better when you smile. Your hair looks really good today. I like what you're wearing, small stuff like that. And I got to a point where I was feeling bad because I wasn't complimenting her back because I'm just not like that. But then I was like, the next time I see her, I have to give her a compliment. Like, I have to pay her back. And I see her, and I stop and we start talking. And I'm like, hey, you're one of the few people I talk to here, and I hate it here. And talking to you, even though it's a little conversation, it helps me get through my day. It really does. So thank you for that. And she, paused for a second. We continued talking, and then we met um, on the way to the break room. And she was like, "Hey, by the way, I went into the bathroom and I cried because what you said affected me so much." And of course, I don't want that to happen. I don't want people to cry over what I say, but just little stuff like that. Open your heart up to someone, no matter who it is, just a little bit. I'm not saying completely dump your past onto someone or whatever. I think I accidentally stopped my recording, which kind of sucks. So the video is going to do that, but um I'm not saying open your heart to someone and allow some stranger in, but open it a little bit, tell someone how you truly feel when you love them, and who knows what it might do to their day. But Jackie's got a sports show. You just tuned in to that sports show. I appreciate you tuning into this sports show. All my socials will be in the description, and I will see you on Thursday.